Hello guys, my name is LauraChioma Jones. I am a student at VCU. I'm a sculpture major with a minor in art history and psychology, and today I'm going to be demoing and teaching you about MDF board.
Wow! Wow!
So, this thing is called MDF board. It is the medium density fiber board, which is a composite built with both hardwoods and softwoods. It's little particles and fibers that are all binded using things such as formaldehyde resin. These panels are made using high temperature and high heat, and all of these make the composite super compact. Now, this process lends itself to the benefits and limitations of MDF board, and I'm going to go ahead and compare these to plywood, which is just a comparable wood composite. Now, let's get into its benefits and limitations. We're going to start with its benefits. Now, compared to plywood, MDF board is going to be denser, meaning that it's heavier, it carries a lot more weight in less space than plywood. It's also going to be cheaper, which is great for us artists, as you know. MDF is also super easy to paint. So, as you see through this little book that I have spray paint as well as acrylic on it. It attached super well and it's very easy. I also have it in my background here. MDF board is also going to be super easy to cut. It's less likely to splinter, which brings us to our limitations. Now, since MDF board is less likely to splinter, it is also less likely to be able to receive nails really well. So, what I suggest is using a nail gun to put them together, as well as some wood glue, rather than trying to screw something in because it's just too dense to take that in. MDF board is also more likely to sag, expand, contract, and warp with extreme temperature and even light weight. So I wouldn't suggest using this as a shelf. Now, going back to cutting, when we cut MDF board, it is more likely to create dust, which is not really good for your lungs. So I suggest going into a well-ventilated area, as well as wearing protection such as safety goggles and an N95 mask. I also would suggest wearing a respirator, but if you don't have that, this will work just fine. Lastly, similar to plywood, MDF board does produce off-gas with VOCs and formaldehyde. It takes about, from my research, 2+ years to off-gas, but I've read that it's not supposed to be dangerous, but I don't know. I'm not a scientist. So, to conclude with the little demo, MDF board is great for indoor use. It's great for decor. Not really the best for weight bearing because it is so heavy, might weigh down your walls. But it's great for decoration. This is a piece that I made with it earlier, and I'll talk more about that in the next clip. Okay, so now we'll move on to how I got interested in MDF board. I personally love working with wood, and I also love working with metal, so it's already something that I sort of wanted to gravitate towards. I just honestly didn't know it existed. The way that I discovered it was actually back in August of 2022. It's actually this year. When I went to a residency in Colorado, and I was limited in materials and time, and since I'm comfortable with wood, and this was what they gave me for free, I went ahead and used MDF board, and I learned that I absolutely love the way that it works. I appreciate it 10 times more than plywood personally. I think that it is just like the perfect thing for the work that I make. So, moving on to how I think that this is going to be used in my future works, and how it can just be used in anyone's work. As I said earlier, it can be used for decoration and anything that's sort of interior. And for me, I like making decorative art, and I'm going to talk about a piece that I've made recently. So this piece that I've made is called My Silly Lion. It is a piece made out of MDF board, spray painted, acrylic painted, etc., etc. And it is a kinetic poster. Basically, it moves. And I'll put a little video clip of it moving as well. But yeah, it was sort of the perfect material to use for it. I think that the materiality was really emphasized in this because it's sort of like a proper like wood toy box, and I really loved that. I thought it was actually amazing, and I really loved how it was used and how you can just like see exactly what qualities the MDF board brings to the piece itself. The piece is fairly lightweight because I used about a 1/4 inch ply MDF board, and it hangs pretty nicely. I like it personally. So in my future works, I really want to use it to make more kinetic boxes, and I want to be able to work with a bigger scale. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to do one that can sort of go off the wall into the middle of a room, and just be a giant kinetic box that people can move around with and interact with. But yeah, that is my presentation on MDF board. Thank you so much for being a part of this, watching this, and yeah, so long.